Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarky and Drury. Just Drury this week. Clarky's off. Guy needs his rest. All right, he's still dealing with the letdown from the Maple Leafs. So we'll give Clarky the week off. Now, on that note, we know that on this show we love winners. And what do we say all the time on this show? Producer Adam knows. Winners win. And if people aren't familiar with the Brooks Bandits situation. Now, at the start of last year, it was announced that the Brooks Bandits, they were going to leave the AJHL. They joined the BCHL. Well, wouldn't you know it, those Brooks Bandits, those sneaky devils, in their first year in the BCHL, they just go and win the whole thing. And we have a friend who's on the show to talk all about that and give us a unique perspective right from the bench. Winners win. And Luke Israel, former assistant coach with the Sutherland Cup champion Listowel Cyclones, is now a BCHL champion as an assistant coach with the Brooks Bandits. And Izzy joins us on the show this week. Izzy, how are you, brother? Congratulations.
Oh my gosh, Ryan, you know how to set the table. Holy cats. Yeah, thanks for having me. What an incredible run these last 2 years to have a chance to be a part of two incredible organizations. And now I get to be on this show. So thanks for having me on this week.
The show is a real highlight for you. Absolutely. I got to ask you, man. So you're part of that Sutherland Cup run that we got to see very up close and personal. You were one of the first guys, actually, because, of course, I was doing all the on-ice interviews for CKNX. I was right next to the bench when that OT goal went in that sealed it for you guys. And you were one of the first guys that grabbed me off the bench when I got out on the ice trying to take a picture. And then you go out west and join. I want to start there first. Like, you win the Sutherland Cup. When did the Brooks Bandits come into the picture and that whole possibility for you to move up into Tier 2 Junior A?
Yeah, it was actually really last minute. So we had started the season in Listowel with the Eli Palfreman Classic in Ayr, and I sent an application, just a flyer application, in at the beginning of August when there was a posting on Instagram actually, and I had known a bunch of guys that had played for the Bandits, or played with guys that had played with guys that played for the Bandits, and I ended up sending a bunch of text messages out just saying, hey, like, I'm sending an application in. Can you reach out to Ryan Papuano, who's the head coach and GM, and just say, like, just give this kid's application a read. And I guess volume shooting does work, because he ended up taking a look at the application, and I went through the interview process when we were at the Eli Palfreman tournament, and then took the job on like 3 days notice. I was supposed to get out here in 2 days. But on Mondays, my grandpa, my dad, and my brother and I, we ship hogs from the barn out in Wallenstein. And I said, I got to ship hogs one last time, so I'll be out there on Tuesday. And the rest is history. So yeah, it was kind of crazy, unexpected. I was really, really fond and loved the experience that I had in Listowel, and was certainly ready to go back and try to defend the Sutherland Cup. And this came about, and any mentor, people that I had said this is something that you want to chase and do. Now's the time to do it. So got to strike while the iron's hot, as my dad would say. So was fortunate enough to make the jump out here, and what an experience it was.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go out there, and I that program, it's a vaunted program. A lot of great players have come through, and you're not the first guy from Listowel to shoot out there. I remember Jake Lee going out there after winning a Southie and doing very well en route to the NCAA, and it's great to see. And you're one of those guys too that's just easy to cheer for, Izzy. I was paying attention to you guys throughout the year, and I mean, an interesting time for you to go out there too, because of course, Brooks, they joined the BCHL. It's their first season. There's been a lot of shuffling around and expansion in that league over the last couple seasons, and it's always been a great pipeline and feeder for the NCAA and, of course, eventual NHL talent as well. That must have been a pretty unique challenge for you, not only, taking a step up into the Junior A ranks, but also on a journey that everybody in the organization wasn't necessarily familiar with at the start.
Yeah, you know what? First of all, I want to give Jake Lee a little shout out. When I was going through the process, he was one of the guys I texted, and he reached out to Ryan and I guess had a good enough review to get my resume looked at. And then I get here on the first day, and I'm walking down the hallway, and what do I see? But Captain Jake Lee lifting the AJHL trophy when they won it, and then eventually there's another one just down the hallway of him lifting the national championship when they hosted at home. So pretty cool to have that guy in my corner. And I mean, like, I never played in Listowel with Leeser. I mean, I know him through mutual friends, and we hang out a bit in the summertime. But to have a guy like that who knows just how serious they take winning here, reach out and think that I would be a guy that would be a fit was incredible. But yeah, no, it was a big leap of faith. Like, I know they had done a really great job of dominating the AJHL for a long time and putting together some Centennial or RBC Cups, whatever it was called, when they were winning them. And Ryan wanted a new challenge. So, I mean, talk about a new challenge for me. Like, I was really comfortable with winning in Listowel. I would have never imagined that this would have been the place that I got the job. Like, when I told kids, junior players that I skate with in the summertime, that I was taken or that I applied for the job, I literally got laughed at, Ryan, like in my face by a room full of 16 to 20-year-old young men, which was like, I went home in a shell that day. I was like, what the did I, pardon my French, but what did I just get myself into? And then, you know, sometimes great things happen at unexpected times. So to come out here and get to play against the competition in the BCHL was really incredible. I know it was something that our group really looked forward to. You know what? I'd say one thing that there is a lot of in our room is confident young men. They've always believed that this was a place that they could come and win, whatever league it might be, BCHL, AJHL. They thought that they had a group and the recipe to win, and it was pretty incredible to get to be a part of that.
And, you know, your journey to the Fred Page Cup was a pretty interesting one. And again, you know, it's that old adage that Jason Brooks and I always like to bring up whenever I see that cat: winners win. And you seem to do it in dominant fashion wherever you are, because that Cyclones run, I think you guys lost, 3 or 4 games the entire time? And you had a pretty similar journey here. Let me just rattle off what these Brooks Bandits are up to with Izzy behind the bench. They lost their first game of the playoffs when they were playing West Kelowna. Then they reeled off. Yeah, and it was not a pretty loss either.
No.
And clearly there was a wake-up call, because afterwards, imagine the Leafs could just do this. That's the next step for you, Izzy. The Leafs need to give you a call. You've got some good mojo here, because they need to put a run together like this. Lose the first game to West Kelowna. Then they win 10 straight. They beat West Kelowna in 5. They sweep Sherwood Park. And then they beat Penticton in 6. And, of course, the penultimate series in the final, they take down Chilliwack in 6. And the final game was dominant. You dusted them off 6-2. Pretty nice. Not a big deal. When you go on that type of a run, like, the vibes in the room, like, it's just got to be immaculate. Like, you gotta have kids walking in there thinking, we're winning every game. Like, it's unbelievable. It must be.
Yeah, you know what? I won't take any credit for it at all. I'm just a cog in the wheel that tries to help whatever we have going.
Come on,
I'm serious, Ryan. I'm serious. It's like, yeah, like, coaches provide a lot, but at the day's end, like, it's up to the players to go out and execute what our plan is. And just like in Listowel, like, we had a really healthy coaching environment here where, you know, we've got some who are more serious. We've got some who are fun loving. You know, guys that allow players to be comfortable and be them true selves. But that was one thing that, you know, really shined through with our group, was just how confident they were. You know, we lost that first game of playoffs, and it felt like the walls were closing in. It was like, is this really something that we're meant for? Especially in the fashion we lost it to. It was embarrassing on home ice. But then, you know, then we started to catch a groove and really play our best hockey of the year. And you know what, guys, we always say to our guys, chin up, chest out, be the moment. Like, walk in like you're the biggest thing in the room, and give yourself a reason to walk in like that. You know, don't be shy. There's going to be times where, you know, it's going to be uncomfortable, but we need to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and know that, you know what, if we do about things the right way and are ourselves and innately ourselves, more times than not, it's going to work out in the right way for us. You know, like our captain, who was Ethan Beyer, incredible young man and a real religious young man. He would always talk about, you know, having unwavering faith to the group. And no matter what it means to you, whether it be through prayer, whether it just be through self-talk, let's have unwavering faith, because at day's end, it's not going to lead us astray. And that was something that really stuck with me, because you know what, it's nice to, you hope the kids take stuff from you, but at day's end, what's important is trying to take stuff from these young men, especially some of the older guys that are leaders, and try to apply it to what you're doing as a coach. It's that's one of the most rewarding things of the job, I would say.
You know, Izzy, if you ever get tired of the coaching thing, you could easily do some public speaking. I want to run through a wall right now. Like I would pay money for your TED Talk, brother. And if Clarky was here on the show this week, he's going to be really upset he missed this, because I guarantee you he would be calling somebody at Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment like, can we get this guy down to Scotiabank right now? This is just unbelievable. And of course, typical is he's too humble to admit that he had any impact at all on a championship team. And well, like the other interesting thing for you too, and you know, you have a bit of a unique perspective on what it takes to do this, and you're a guy that kind of is able to connect with players in a unique way, because you were a player. Like you played high level hockey. I know that you played, you know, we were talking before we jumped on here, you get to play against Cale Makar out there, who of course is probably the most famous Brooks Bandit alumnus and continues to be really good to the franchise. Like, for people that think, you know, the pinnacle of junior hockey is the CHL, and you know, for a lot of people it is. Tell me a little bit about what is so special about the BCHL and being part of a program like the Brooks Bandits and a league like that, and the opportunities it offers guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, like as an Ontario guy, I have a profound respect for the CHL and the OHL, and I think the new ruling with CHL players being able to go to college really opens a lot of incredible doors, and is only going to increase the level of college hockey. You're going to get some really high-end players that are going to leave before their 20-year-old seasons. But it was really cool to come out here and see this, and kind of like, yeah, the rule changed midway through the year. But like we were able to, I think we only lost 3 guys, two top 4 defensemen, and our starting goalie, who was a shutout shy of the league shutout record at Christmas. And we blew like 4 shutouts in the first half in the last minute of a game. So like he was a rock star, went on and had a really good run in Victoria. But yeah, the BCHO was a great league, and great to see young men that, you know what, Brooks is a unique situation in regard to, we had such a, you know, abundance of scholarship players that I think like the only 3 guys that we didn't have that are committed are sitting on offers right now. And so like, it's cool to see a bunch of young men working towards something that they're all driving towards. And now they view themselves as kind of the dark horses going into some of these schools, especially our guys that are going into some of the bigger time schools, your Hockey East, your Big Ten. There's a lot of really, really high end talent coming out of the CHL to those programs. And our guys truly believe that they can play and compete with those guys, and have learned really good habits that are going to set them into being able to step in and be impact players. And it was really cool to see that. I mean, like the goalie we played in the finals was committed to Denver. Like there's still some really high end talent. Obviously, over the next few years, the landscape will continue to change, and it'll look different with more young players signing CHL deals. Just because, I mean, realistically, like why not? Like, you know, why would a kid from Quebec come and play in BC when they can play in the QMJHL? You know, like I know it's not the greatest promo for the BCHL. Maybe don't put that one on Instagram, but like I understand where these kids are coming from. But in the same breath is like in Brooks, I can only speak for us. We fully believe that we have, you know, the facilities and the ability, with our coaches being full-time and always being at the rink, with being able to keep up with that development path, right? Is like our development program with players, I believe is second to none. I haven't had my foot in the door of other places, but we spend a lot of time doing individual video, going over development plans with our guys. You know, we have the ice all day, going on the ice early, staying on late. Like those things were really, really cool. Whereas, you know, in Listowel, there's only a certain amount of practices a week. Like that was one of my favorite things this year, was having guys pull me aside and say, hey, like so they each have a development plan, to which they have like 3 keys that they certainly want to dial in on, and it can change at any time. So, if guys say like, I want to work on my edge work and like working on driving pucks to the net, then perfect. I know exactly what they want to work on. We can go on early, we can stay on late, and we can do these things. And that was something that I really enjoyed about it this year, was just being able to, go out there early and put extra time in and run meetings with guys throughout the day. That was an incredible part of it. And, at the BCHL, it was awesome to have the opportunity to win it this year. Like we play Penticton in the conference final, who, I mean, they're going to the WHL next year. Yeah, their roster is going to look different, but that's an organization that all they've done is win as well. And then you go play Chilliwack, and, that's a team that's going to the WHL not next year, but the year after. Kind of a Cinderella storybook run to be able to take those 2 teams out. And that was what we were saying before that Penticton series is, fellas, whether we like it or not, like we're only going to get one shot at these. So let's make it worth it and let's make it count. And ultimately we did, but yeah, it's an awesome league. And, I know I'm rambling a bit here, but what a depth of talent, and especially some of those teams with some younger players, they were incredible. And a lot of really, like all of our leading scorers were 20-year-olds, and they're going to go to college next year and be really impactful players with whatever program they go to. And that was one of the coolest parts about getting to work with that high-end talent.
Well, and that's all I've ever heard about that league and how special it can be. And, certainly as an alternative to some guys. And that was more my point for the question. It's not all about the CHL. There are opportunities to do a lot of great things in the game with leagues like that available to you. My cousin, shout out Brady Shaw, he played in the BCHL, went on to play at Vermont, and then has had a really great pro career. As a matter of fact, he just set the scoring record for Angers in the French league. So how about that?
No way.
You can carve out a pretty nice living for yourself, setting a foundation in a league like the BCHL. Izzy, we were joking a little bit about, we got to get Izzy into the Leafs room. But on a serious note, though, like I know you're definitely, a come as it may type of guy, but for yourself, like where do you want to take this coaching thing? Like, what's next for you? I know that, there's no rush to get out of that Brooks program, but like for yourself looking down the line, like where do you want to push this thing?
Oh, that's a great question. You know what? You're right. Like I'm a big believer in just be where your feet are. Had some mentors who mean a lot to me and are, of quite high stature in the hockey world have said, like, if as a young coach, if you're just looking for the next thing and constantly chasing the next thing, then you're not going to be doing your best job with where you are and are presently. And ultimately, the only way that you're going to succeed when you move on is to be present and master where you're at. And then, hopefully when that time comes to make another step or another stride and what you see is the right direction, then you're ready to go and ready to be an impact maker there. So, obviously, like I'd love to take this as far as it would. Like being able to win and having the opportunity to win while I'm young has been something that's been pretty cool. And I think I've learned a lot of valuable experiences through that. But I guess we'll see. Like you said, I'm in no rush to get out of Brooks. They've been incredible to me. We're incredibly welcoming, and to get to win with the team, you kind of, want to try to see it through again. And that was where my head was at in Listowel. But this was too good of an opportunity to be able to do this full time to pass that up. But, I guess we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I believe that I'm going to be back here next year, and that's what the plan is. So down the line, I don't think I'm fit to be in the NHL, Ryan. Not by any means. Those guys are absolute wizards of their craft. And for anyone who wants to complain about, the Leafs, I'm not a Leaf lover myself, but Craig Berube did an incredible job there, right? Like you can see through the way that they played. They truly had a belief. Yeah, it fizzles out, but they're playing a team that's going back to their 3rd straight Stanley Cup final. And that Florida team, in my opinion, is arguably better than what they were last year. So to push them to the brink and do that sort of thing, like he did come in and make a profound impact, in my opinion, compared to what Sheldon Keefe was doing. It's just, sometimes you come up short and aren't fortunate enough to be the one standing there at the end. So I'm not an NHL guy. I don't believe that I am. But you know what? If I can make an honest living out of this and get to make impacts in lives and do that sort of thing, I'll take it however far I can take it. I'm pretty free with it, and I love what I do. It's if you were to tell me that when I was 16, 17 years old, that in 10 years from now you'd be coaching and doing it full time and getting to make an impact in guys that the age you are now's lives, I'd tell you you're an idiot and there's not a chance. So to get to do that's pretty cool, and that's one of the coolest parts of the job is when it's all said and done. And thankfully these last couple of years have been over happy beers, but over happy beers, the young men tell you just how much of an impact you've made on their lives, and that now you have a friend for life, especially the ones that are graduating. So that's one of the coolest parts of what we get to do.
And that's a great perspective, man. And that's why I think someday. And look, I'm just approaching this as a guy that's a buddy of yours and a fan, ultimately. That's why I think ultimately you could go that far. I don't see why not. I will be advocating as best I can. I always will, but that's the right perspective, and I like that. That's what I've always respected about you is your ability to really be in the moment and focus on the task at hand and have a positive impact ultimately everywhere you've been. Listen, guys, you're not going to find anybody that has a bad word to say about Izzy, all right? So
there might be a few.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Don't send that blast out there, because there'll be people finding some bad words, and you're going to hear them all in your guys' comment section. So
we will be blocking and reporting. Brother. I will not stand for Izzy slander. I want to jump on what you were talking about. I'm glad you brought up Craig Berube and the Leafs. What's your opinion there? I know, you're pumping Florida's tires, and deservedly so, but what's your opinion on this whole kerfuffle with the Leafs? Like, do they need to let everybody walk? Do they need to do we run it back again? Like, let's go for a decade? Like, what is your thought on what needs to happen there? You're a coach. You see this. Like, give us your perspective on this. Like, what's your thoughts?
I coach junior hockey, Ryan. I'm not fit to be giving advice on the NHL. I know that's maybe not the answer that you want to hear. You know what? I don't know. I'm a coach, not a general manager. I know Sheriff Shanny was there for the whole tenure of when this all was going on, and he's not anymore. I don't know. At the end of the day, when our sweet Bill Barilko left us, it was cursed. It's cursed. It's done. So you know what? Unless somebody can revive Mr. Barilko, I don't know.
Need to do like a seance or something at Harold Ballard's gravesite. I don't know what the Leaf fans need to do. I don't have to worry about that. I saw my guys win. I just, you see it back there. So, okay, well, I'll ask you something that I definitely know you will have an opinion on. Now, we happen to be recording this on the eve of Game 5 between your Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. So I want some concrete answers here, Izzy. You can't deflect. What do your Stars need to do to not only force a Game 6, but win this series and face those Florida Panthers in the Cup final?
Oh gosh. See, like, I'm going to be giving diplomatic answers here. Is like Mr. DeBoer and Mr. Spot, they know what to do. You know what? It's tough. Edmonton's a good hockey team, and they're playing really good hockey right now. They're, when you have two of the best players in the world and a team and a supporting cast that's really playing strong around them. Like, you look at what Nugent Hopkins has done this series. You look at some of the guys that are being heroes for them. They've been really good. And you know what? Sometimes in playoffs, I think the thing, that probably the message that's being given in that room, I have no idea, but would be, like in playoffs, it doesn't matter if you lose 7-1 or if you lose 3-2 in double overtime. It's a loss. It counts against you. And now you're in a little bit of a hole. So I think the thing for them tonight is, like, if they're able to win this game, then, you go back and try to win one more. And then you've got Mr. Game 7 on your bench for a seventh game. So they can't get ahead of themselves. It's going to be hard, like keeping, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl at bay, especially when they're running on all cylinders. And, you look at some of the sneaky, really good players on Edmonton, like Brett Kulak's been real good. Guys like that. Jake Wallman has been incredible. He's been awesome. Stuart Skinner's playing, really good hockey right now. So it is what it is. But it would be nice to see them win tonight. I would love to see them, keep it alive and see where they can go with it. But who knows at day's end.
Well, I want you to know that I did pick the Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup at the start of the year.
Perfect.
And
what line did you get it at?
Oh, geez. I want to say plus 1,100. I think they were like fourth or fifth in odds.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't extreme.
No.
I'm feeling a little less confident in it because McJesus looks like he's pissed off. And
there's something poetic about like I mean, like, I am a firm believer that the game's greatest player needs to hoist the game's greatest prize. And there is something poetic about, you look at how guys like Michael Jordan did it, guys like Wayne Gretzky did, like, they don't win their first time around. It's hard. It's hard to beat the video game boss on your first go at him, right? Like, sometimes it takes losing and learning and finding a new move that's going to work, that's going to ultimately be what helps you climb the mountain. And I mean, they look like a team that's won in the playoffs before. I'll say that about Edmonton. They look like a team that's been to the big dance and has had a chance to do it. And, you look at even Sidney Crosby when he wins his first one, right? It's like they lose to the Red Wings. They come back the next year, face the same team, and have an opportunity to, reconcile things and make things right in their eyes. And I think there's something really poetic about that in sports. And, like, the best player in the world needs to have the best trophy. So that's why Ovi got his, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm in full support of that. He's certainly the greatest goal scorer of all time. So how about that?
Can't argue it now. You can't argue it now.
No, you can't. I'm done hearing the arguments. Izzy, I want to ask you finally as well. Obviously you've had an incredible journey. You're doing a great job, obviously. For anybody who's even certainly a player that's thinking about making the transition to behind the bench, or just anybody that's interested in coaching in general, what advice would you give to somebody who's just maybe thinking about starting to dip their toe in and maybe pursue coaching seriously? What advice would you give them?
I mean, I would say do it, to be honest with you. It's incredible. And I think on top of just doing it, find mentors that you trust and rely on and believe in what they, put forward. I mean, like, I was really fortunate to grow up around my dad, who was doing skill development and doing it with some pretty, high end players and people. And I was able to meet a lot of coaches that I really admired. And then, ultimately when I'm 20, I get traded to Listowel and start playing for Jason Brooks. And that was when, like, I started just kind of realize, like, playing wasn't going to be what I made a living off of in hockey. And he started to talk to me and kind of mentor me in regard to, getting into coaching. And the first team that I coached was his son Callum's U13 Lakers team, I think. That would have been 3 years ago now. Yeah. So I had an opportunity to do that and really fell in love with it. And halfway through that year, he took me to a Cyclones game and took me down afterwards to see Kohler again. And Kohler asked if I would have interest in joining their staff. And, like, just find mentors, like people like that are willing to give you their time, willing to give you their honest opinion. A lot of people are going to feed you shit. You need to find people that are even going to tell you the things you don't want to hear. And to have the opportunity to take that information in and learn from it and find ways to, kind of just redraw things out on what your roadmap is. That's a real important part of it. And you know what, like, give back to the game. It's whether you're a player or a parent or whatever it might be, like, the game's given so much to any of us that have played it, and to, like, think that you're too good or not want to give back is kind of a shame in my eyes. Like, it's incredible to see, like, like last year in Listowel, we have a group of 23 to 25 young men that are going to remember each other for the rest of their lives. And lucky enough to do it again this year. And it doesn't just have to be through winning that happens, right? It's like you can cultivate such a positive and incredible environment in whatever space you're working in, especially to young coaches. It's like, these guys look up to us. And you know what? to earn their respect, it's hard to do that. But once you do that, they know that they can have fun with you, but there's also a time to walk in and dial it back. And you know what? Yeah, go for it. Chase that dragon and have some fun with it while you're at it. Cause this is, especially, from a coach's perspective, it's an incredibly beautiful game, right? It's like when your team's playing great, it's like poetry in motion. And when your team's playing like shit, it's like fucking nails on a chalkboard. And there's really no in between. So to get to see both sides of it and have to, be able to go through that and find ways to manage your emotions and not be, attached to everything. Things are going to go wrong. How do we, act to make things proper when they are wrong? And that's a cool thing. I think to anyone chasing coaching, you're going to find out a lot about yourself. How you deal with conflict, how you deal with officials, right? It's like, imagine doing that job. Imagine doing a job where no matter what you do, 50% of the populace thinks you're a idiot. It's like, right? So unless it's something really bad, why yell at them? They're people too. Your players aren't perfect. You're not perfect as a staff. The officials aren't perfect. Just live with it, right? So, yeah, there's my little TED Talk for you.
I like it. This is good advice. Luke Israel, winning coach. How about that? Future author, I think. There it is. There is the money shot.
I'm dyslexic, Ryan. Not going to be writing any books.
Well, you get a ghostwriter. That's what all these guys do. They don't actually sit there at a typewriter. You know that, right? You get a ghostwriter. You just relay the stories. I can see it now in a couple years on bookshelves. And look at that. What a photo. Congrats to the Brooks Bandits. I can see it now on bookshelves. Here's the title of your book. I'm going to pitch it to you right now. Feeling Izzy. My philosophies on coaching and life. How about that? Wow. And that's the photo right there. It's the Bandits and then the Cyclones photo zoomed in on you. That's the cover of your book.
Yeah, it might not be a very good looking book cover then.
I'm going to say, come on now. You're sharp looking lad. I'm going to send a pitch email to Coles Publishing right now. Okay.
Perfect.
In all seriousness, Izzy, congratulations. You're one of the best guys in the game and one of my favorites. We've always, had a good relationship. It's great to get you on the show, and I'm seriously, all jokes aside, profoundly happy for you. Couldn't happen to a better guy, and I'm excited to see what's next for you, buddy. Thanks so much for coming on the show, eh?
Oh man, thank you so much for having me. This is, I love tuning in. I love tuning in after the Barons won, and you get to see a couple former Cyclones in Brady and Clates find a way to win and continue their success. And I love watching when Brooksy's on. Not many people can get Brooksy to smile, but you can get Brooksy to smile. So it's amazing.
That's because I'm not doing drills for him.
Yeah, true. But no, what you guys do and keeping a finger of the pulse of, guys who have been around the area and also giving sports talk and everything, it's incredible. People need it. People need to, not just listen to music to drown stuff out, but hear other people talk and be open to hearing other people talk. And I'm just hoping too many people don't skip by this interview and they can just listen to me yammer a little bit.
They better not, because they're going to pick up a couple good nuggets from you, buddy. Thanks so much for doing this, eh?
Of course. Have a good one.
All right, we'll take a quick break. And as Izzy mentioned, the Hanover Barons, big weekend coming up here. There's going to be a big celebration in Hanover. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to touch on that next here on Instigating. Welcome back to Instigating. Thanks a lot to Luke Israel for jumping on here. He's a beauty. It's always great to chat with that dude, and just continues to have success coaching. Doesn't matter where this guy goes. I mean, Junior B, Junior A. What's next? NHL someday? The Leafs could use somebody like Izzy on their bench, I think. I would take him. I would take Izzy. Speaking of winning, this episode's all about winning. This episode's about winners, okay? And the Hanover Barons, the celebrations continue, and they're really going to kick up into another notch on the weekend, obviously. For our viewers that see this Friday on Whiteman, make sure that you pay attention here. If you're seeing this on Sunday, it's too late. Sorry. But for our viewers to see this on Friday, the Hanover Barons are going to be celebrating at the P&H Center on Saturday, May 31st. They're going to have a big fan fest thing. They're going to be handing out awards to players. It's going to be a lot of fun. And they're going to be doing a vehicle processional. That's what it's called. It's a processional, okay? Not a parade. It's a processional, and they've got a whole schedule. They shared on social media what the whole schedule is. The processional is going to be driving around at 5, doing a tour around town. Some of the 91 alumni are going to be there as part of the processional as well. Eventually, it's going to make its way over to the P&H Center at 6 o'clock. They're going to start letting fans in, and things are officially going to kick off underway at 6:15. There's going to be a bunch of awards handed out. Mayor Sue Patterson's going to be there handing stuff out. Producer Adam's going to be there filming a bunch of it. I'm going to be there for some reason. No, I'm part of the presentations. I'm not presenting awards, but I am going to make a speech. Steve Sabrin, the voice of CKNX Junior Hockey, he's going to be there and make a speech. We were honored to be asked by our next guest. I got to sit down and have a chat earlier this week about the plans for this fan fest. There's going to be a dance afterwards as well at 9 p.m. until 1 a.m. right out on the arena floor. There's going to be a dance. It's going to be a great night celebrating these deserving Schmalz Cup champions. And I got to sit down earlier this week with our buddy, Director of Hockey Operations for the Barons, Mike Fisher. And here's our chat. It's been a great season for the Barons, and it's all going to come to a head on the weekend with a parade and a big celebration with the team and with the fan base. Tell us a little bit about what people can expect coming up here on the weekend.
Yeah, it'll be a good, it'll be some fun times. Hopefully, some stories told. Hopefully, some alumni, there. It's been 34 years, right? So. The group's excited. It really wasn't kind of planned. I know I mentioned to Lori Pagalu, our vice president and treasurer, on the way to Game 7 in Napanee, and I said, we haven't really planned anything because we didn't really expect to win. It's not an expectation to win, but it's we knew we had to work for it, right? And I just mentioned to her, I said, we're going to have to maybe plan something if the cards fall the right way for us, which by the end of it they did. And I think you're going to expect, this is, to be honest with you, in the 6 years that I've been here, we have 190 people coming to our banquet. And I always judge, that's how I judge whether it's a successful year or not. And what I mean by that is people always like winners, right? So the minute that you win, you really find out who wants to be part of your group. And this is the highest number in the whole time I've been in Hanover we've went from as low as like 40 to, potentially growing every year. And that's a good thing. You know what I mean? That means hockey in Hanover for the Barons is good. We felt as an executive and the hockey side that we should include the fans somehow. They've been through some dark times, some low times, some high times, some not so high times, you know what I mean? And now to finally grab what our goal was, we would love for them to be there. And, the banquet meal kind of just for the parents and the players, but then we're going to get into, some of the 91 team showing up for the parade. We're going to get some vehicles, and I shouldn't call it a parade. I'm sorry. I should retract that. It's a celebration processional is what we're allowed to call it. The 91 team, there's going to be a handful of guys that are showing up. Hopefully there's some stories from that day when it happened for them, and some stories for these guys. And it's just, to me, it's bringing tradition and culture back for 50 plus years of Hanover Baron hockey.
Yeah, which is obviously extremely important, and I know that a lot of work went into what you guys accomplished this year. And like Mike, for yourself and for Pete and Brady and the entire executive group and the volunteers, like the fans, a lot of them, they see what happens on the ice, but they don't necessarily see all the things that go on behind the scenes. And, Sabby and JK and I, we definitely got a little bit of a glimpse of that as we traveled around with you. When Dukeshire scored that OT winner in Game 4, which that game alone will go down in history, when that goal went in and you realized you'd pulled this off, that had to have been a tremendous sense of accomplishment for you and the entire executive staff.
Yeah, I was about 9 minutes before that, or 10 minutes before that was roughly when we, plus a flood is when we kind of tied it up. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was in a different state of mind when that happened, and I might have been the guy in the dressing room that said to the coaches, like, hey, we got to go Game 5 potentially tomorrow night. Let's not burn out the top two, right? Brady and Anderson and I changed my position where I was standing. So I went down to the kind of the tunnel in Essex there, which was right beside our bench. And we had a good chat. Brady and I, we talk a lot. We're on the same wavelength a lot, and I just said to him, like, don't burn out the bench. You know what I mean? Like, if it goes to 5-1, let's even think about maybe getting Derek Hartley off his feet. And just for an extra hour, right? Just so you're coming back with them Game 5. You want your horses, ready to go. So I was kind of maybe, I guess, trying to be the voice of reason, and Brady looked at me at 4-2, and I kind of I said, gave him the kind of keep rolling the lines, mentality. Then we made it 4-3 right away, and then I was like, okay, now we got to go for it. And he knew it. Like, you could just tell, you could see it in his face. Like, he knew we were winning that game at that point. And I think Bobby Kirby might have jumped 2 pizza boxes on the bench. I might have jumped 10 in the tunnel. And there might have been 2 or 3 guys, they call them black aces in the NHL, but they were standing beside me, like thinking, holy Jesus, 260-pound guys taking me out in the tunnel, you know what I mean? But they were jumping as high as I was. Like, we were so excited. To be honest, I don't know if it's sank in yet to me. I know it's been 2-3 weeks here, but you're planning this event on Saturday to incorporate the fans into the awards and celebration, and incorporate them into kind of a social event at the end. So I'm hoping by the end of the night Saturday, it's going to feel like I've accomplished something, and we've accomplished something. But yeah, it's awesome, man. Like, I never would have thought this was going to happen, but I'm so happy, and happy for the guys. Like you said, that Game 4 might go down in the history books, being down 4-1, right?
Absolutely. It's crazy stuff. And I was listening out west and heard the overtime winner. It was an amazing moment, and we were very thankful to be along for the ride. As you reflect back now, Mike, on all the work that went in, and obviously you mentioned you're happy for the guys, and the players are the ones that go out there and play. And, you had a large hand in putting this group together and supporting them throughout the season. What does it mean to you from an executive's point of view to see these kids have this type of success as Hanover Barons?
It's one of those feelings that it's hard to describe, but when you've accomplished something, you just know. And what I mean by that is, there's guys that work at this for 10, 20 years, 30 years of hockey and never even get a sniff of it. And I'm not saying that I work harder than anyone else. I know I put a lot of hours into this, and I know the guys respect me for that. I joked with the executive that I've got I'm expecting another kid with my wife here in September, and I joked with them, I'm not sure how many years I got left, and they kind of just said, yeah, you're not going anywhere. I'm like, oh, thanks, but it just means I'm going to have to put more on a couple other people, right? And there's guys like Peter Wynn who just, he knows when to be basically my saving grace, right? Like he's a regional manager for GTEL, and he understands when guys are stressed, and it's stressful. This is, it's a stressful side of hockey that it just doesn't go away, and that it's basically the passion, right? Like people care, and when you have a coaching staff like I did with Brady Anderson and Bobby Kirby and Brennan Clayton, and you got a management staff of Peter Wynn and Lucas Johnson, they're learning, they want to do more. I'm starting to trust them with a little bit more, and that's partially on my end too. Like I have to trust people more, but I feel so happy for these guys, right? Like they all knew what the goal was. They all knew what we were trying to accomplish, and it never wavered. And the message was always the same, right from the top down. Even Mike Myers, it's unfortunately he's not going to be able to be there on the 31st because he actually planned a personal vacation from Saturday to the May 31st Saturday, and not even thinking we would do something like this, but he trusts that we can get it done as an executive and pull something off like this. And it's just hard work. It just, we sit at the PJHL level, and, Terry Whiteside's the commissioner, that he listens to all voices, right? And you could be a 6th place or an 8th place hockey team in your division, and he has to basically listen to them too, right? Because he's the voice for everyone. And all I can say is Hanover was in that place once, and it took hard work to get out of it. And that's exactly what is culminating together here. And hopefully, with some luck, we can put another year like that together. But I think the executive are super happy. There's some things that we're planning here, not just, for the 31st, but for, next season where we're going to get some things for the players and stuff like that. And hopefully teams see it. A lot of it's bringing culture and tradition back. That's, I feel what was kind of lost in Hanover over the last 34 years. And we're trying to do that by, having the 91 team, having executive people that are part of the group come back. And I'm not saying that they have to be part of the executive again, but be proud of the organization again.
Absolutely, man. Well, I think you guys are doing a great job of that, and it's obviously culminated in something extremely special. We're excited to see you guys there on Saturday. Thanks so much for doing this, Fish. It's been a blast this year, man.
Yeah, and I'm, one of the big ones I'm thankful for is, you guys. I try and get my points out whenever I can about CKNX and the team there. You guys, Sabby, JK, you guys are awesome. And to be honest with you, there was nothing better than winning this one, because Sabby's been doing it for 20 years, and he finally got to see one, right? And the only thing I've said to a few people, and Johnny K, is there was one man that wanted to see it come back to the Pollock, and that was Duger Kennedy, right? And I only wish I could have done it a year sooner. That's the only thing I have a little bit of regret for. But I'm sure he's down there. He's up there looking at us, down on us, saying, he did it. We did it for him. So
100%, man. Doug would be very proud. Thanks for doing this, Mike. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll see you on Saturday.
All right, thanks very much to Fish, Mike Fisher. They call him Poppy in Hanover. That's what the players call him, and for good reason. You can hear it on that conversation. He cares so much about winning, and it's great to see the Barons in the position they're in, Schmalz Cup champions, an incredible feat again. just game 4 sweeping the Essex 73s, and in game 4 going into the third down 4-1, they come back and tie. And of course, Hanover boy, I mean, you couldn't write a better script. Hanover boy Aaron Dukeshire scoring the OT winner. Sabby's call is going to live forever, which is really, really incredible. And I want everybody to know, again, the fans that are coming, I've had a ton of people reach out, and I'll just let you know this before we break real quick, and producer Adam and I will come back and do couch potatoes. For anyone that's coming, I've had a ton of people reach out to Sabby and myself about getting the games, the full radio games. We have them. We've got them downloaded. We've got game 7 of Napanee, and then we've got all 4 games of the Schmalz Cup finals, the entire audio history right there to be enjoyed for the rest of your lives. If you would like a copy of that, I'm going to be taking down everybody's email addresses at the Fan Fest. You can, of course, reach out to me if you want to DM me or email. You can't make Fan Fest, but at Fan Fest, I will be taking down everybody's emails, and I will be sending out a mass email with all the files in it to anybody who wants the entirety of the games. And you can hear Sabby and JK and myself on the calls and enjoy that. So I'll be taking down everybody's info and sending out a mass email to anybody who wants the games. All right, let's take a quick break, come
Ryan,
back.
Just gonna jump in and
producer Adam.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to let you know all the games that Whiteman was there with you guys, they're on Whiteman's YouTube channel too from that run. So
yes,
I think
they are.
One of the Fergus Whalers games, and then quite a few of the other ones. I only made it to one of the Essex games, but if you want to relive those in video format too, they are available on Whiteman's YouTube channel. So yeah.
Yes, they are on the Whiteman YouTube channel. Any of the stuff that producer Adam was there to catch, it's all right there. You can log on, watch them. If you wanted a copy, I'm sure if you reached out to producer Adam and Whiteman, they'd be happy to send you a copy of it. If you're, I know some people are putting together like a digital scrapbook,
yep.
And everything. So yeah, it's great that we were able to capture all that, and that we're going to be able to share it with everybody who would like a copy of it. That's available to you. All right, we'll take a quick break, come back, producer Adam and I with our couch potatoes here on Instigating. Back to wrap things up here on Instigating with Clarkie and Drury. Another great week. 2 more great guests. Thanks so much to Luke Israel, Fred Page Cup champion with the Brooks Bandits. Of course, a Sutherland Cup last season, 2 seasons ago now, with the Listowel Cyclones. Izzy, just one of the best dudes out there. Like, yeah, you know, like I said to him, easy guy to cheer for. And yeah, I always walk away from Luke Israel inspired. And of course, thanks to Mike Fisher for sitting down with me earlier this week, talk about Saturday, May 31st, Barons. It's going to be a big night celebrating the Schmalz Cup. Producer Adam joins me now, and you know what that time means. It's the end of the show. That's couch potato time. And producer Adam, you got to sit in for Clarkie here, who should be back next week. We'll see. Yep. What do you got on tap for us here? Couch potato, you are on the clock, sir.
Okay, I'm on the clock. Well, I'll see you on Saturday as well, too, at the Barons celebration. Absolutely. So my couch potato, what am I going to do here? So what I've got planned is something that just came up. Well, it's an older thing, but it just came up. So let me just pull it up here so I can explain what I'm talking about. What you're looking at is the Florida Panthers 2023-2024 engravings on the Stanley Cup. Now, if you just look at this really closely, you're not going to think anything of it. Everybody's on there. Every player's on there. All the executive are on there. All the coaches. Nothing out of the ordinary. Luongo finally got his name on the cup. Yes. But what I noticed is in the top here.
Did you say Luongo? Take it easy there, Don Cherry.
What?
Luongo. We know who you mean. Bobby Lou, he's on there.
Absolutely. If you notice at the very top line, before we even get to the ownership, Vincent and Teresa, the Viola family, Sunrise Sports, they're on there. I'm fine with that. Owners should be on there. They own the team. And if they want to be first, that's fine too. But then he actually lists all his kids. So he's got John, Michael, Travis, and then we get to the executive. And then you have the players. And then who's at the very, very bottom there, Matt? It is Matt Caldwell. who is the president. So what they did was they listed all the owners plus his sons. Then they listed the exec. Then they listed all the players alphabetically. And then they put the president at the very bottom.
So, look, like, I know that they give you some leeway with, like, what you want to do with names.
They do.
If I'm not mistaken, because remember, I got to hold the Stanley Cup, the real one, when the Caps won, because, of course, Brock Miles, the equipment manager, and he's the head equipment manager for the Capitals. He's from Chesley. And so I got to see Phil. And hold the real darn thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have something like high 30s or low 40s for slots for engraving.
You do.
The players all go on there, and you get to,
as they should.
Throwing your kids on there is pretty wild.
It is. And I got an example, a recent example to compare to. Here is my team from a few years back, right? So there are the two Cronkies on here. The Cronky family owns the Colorado Avalanche. They own a few of the other Denver sports teams. Yeah. And of course, they're on there. But Josh and E. Stanley, they actually operate the team. So his son, Josh, is an operator of the team. Then we have the president, Joe. Then you've got all the coaching staff, all the GMs, and then it goes down to the players all the way down to Mr. Devin Taves. But, like, there's no kids. The Cronkies didn't list all their... They have a big family. They could have taken up a little space if they wanted to.
Flex. Hey, if that's what you want to do with the available slots, that's cool. I mean, I'm sure his kids appreciate it. I mean...
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have done it, but...
No.
You know...
I just think it's a little weird.
And that's a great couch potato, and it lends perfectly into mine, because the Florida Panthers could well do this again. And speaking of things I wouldn't do, I love Paul Maurice. I personally like his weird anecdotes. You hear the thing about church the other day? He was going off about, like, do you go to church and do you shotgun beers and whatever? Like, what is this guy talking about? I'm entertained by it personally. This whole thing about not going in the handshake line as coaches, I think it's so goofy. And, like, we've got the clip of him and Rod Brindamore after the Game 5 win. The Panthers, God, are they impressive, eh? Like, it's really goofy. And like, I like Paul, but this is weird. Like, you don't get to dictate tradition. I think that the coaches absolutely should be in the handshake line. You're on the bench. You're part of this. Like, it's not like you're calling, you know, the team president or the owner and all their kids down to shake hands. Like, that's, you know what I mean? So I just really don't agree with this. I think it's goofy. Get in the damn line like every other coach has done and just shake it. Like, Paul, come on. Like, to me, this is just like, and I don't think Paul is trying to do this from an arrogance perspective, like, oh, I shouldn't be, like, or whatever, I'm going to try and change things. I don't think that's what it is. I just think that this is a bit of a galaxy brain thing. Like, I think it's actually respectful for the coach to get in there and shake the players' hands. I hear his argument about it, but I don't agree with it at all.
No. And it's funny because Brindamore had to track him down to shake him, because Rod the Bod was like, I want to shake his hand. We had a great series. Where is he?
Well, and they're like heading to the line, and they're like, oh no, we got to come back. I just thought it was goofy, and I didn't love it. That's just me personally. That's my couch potato. How about that? What a great show. Two great guests on. Producer Adam jumping in for couch potato duty. Awesome stuff. Remember, you can watch this show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 with our friends on Whiteman TV. Producer Adam powering the show as usual. That's Channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers. We debut on our YouTube channel Friday nights at 9. Follow us on social media at InstigatingPod. And remember, you can find the podcast version on all your favorite apps. For Luke Israel, Mike Fisher, there's producer Adam. I'm Ryan Drury. We'll be back next week with more Instigating.
Go Oilers, go.